Shalom everyone and Shavuot Tov. We are in Parashot BeHa'alotkha, and the word BeHa'alotkha matches to the previous parasha because the parasha of the last week was Naso. Naso means to raise. BeHa'alotkha means also to raise. It's coming from the word le'alot, to raise. So what's the connection? But here it's raising from a different place. Let's go into it. So the story is like this. Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. We are reading in the Torah in Parashat Bamidbar, Perek, chapter 8, verse 1. And of course it starts, and God is speaking to Moses, saying, Daber el Aaron v'amarta elav, talk to Aaron and tell him, Be'halotcha et hanerot, as you raise the candles. You raise candles? You light candles, right? You light the candles, okay? You put them on fire, okay? You put fire in the candles, but Be'halotcha, even in Hebrew, you don't say Be'halotcha et hanerot. El mul pnei menorah ya'iru shivat hanerot. And then it says, it's even more kind of weird. In front of the menorah, then the candles will shine. Vayas ken Aaron, and Aaron did so, el mul pnei menorah, in front of the menorah, ha'ela nerota, he raised the candles. Kasher tziva Hashem et Moshe, the same as the Creator ordered Moses. Now, this a Hebrew expression that says, Ze omer darsheni, which means this sentence or this verse forces us to study deeper. Why? Because it doesn't make sense. Why the Torah doesn't make sense? In order for us to delve deeper into it. Because when you're talking about Aaron, the high priest, and you're talking about that his most famous, most amazing job was to light the candles in the menorah, because the menorah is a symbol of everything. More than anything else, the menorah is a symbol of the temple. Right? When you go to the Arch of Titus, his victory arch in Rome, what's the most visible item on the arch? The menorah. It's like you can't remember anything else but the menorah, because that was the most visible. And the Kohen, he would light the candles in the menorah, and that's what Hanukkah is about. Because the whole thing of Hanukkah was the dedication of the temple, but was a symbol of Hanukkah, the menorah, not the temple, the menorah. So what is that menorah so important about? That it's like you have two problems, like logical, rational issues. What does it mean to raise the candles? Because you light the candles, you put fire in the candles. What do I mean to raise the candles? And what does it mean? I didn't explain. It's not my bad English. That's the way it is in the Torah. In front of the menorah, the candles will shine. Just a second. Aren't the candles part of the menorah? Isn't the menorah the 7 candles? And it says, this is the way. El mul pnei menorah, in front of the menorah, ya'iru will shine the 7 candles. But the menorah is the 7 candles, and the 7 candles is the menorah. What are we talking about? So here, because Parashat BeHa'alotkha is always somehow connected to Shavuot, which is Mount Sinai revelation, what is the message of Mount Sinai revelation? Some people say that the message is a very, very social message. Do not steal. Honor your father and your mother. Do not kill. Okay, the world was kind of barbaric, and the world needed those values. Wrong. If you study history, there were the Hammurabi laws that says do not kill, do not murder in Iraq. There were also the 10 commandments of Egypt that also said do not steal, do not kill. And you know what? Why does the Creator have to come on an audiovisual show on Mount Sinai to tell us something we already know? Okay? This is the key, according to my experience, according to all the sages, for what was there on Mount Sinai that most people don't have an idea what was it about. Because a lot of people are trying to explain that amazing experience on Mount Sinai as a logical experience. And it was not a logical experience because the Torah has nothing to do with logic. Let's go back to the ABC of Kabbalah. We know that logic has nothing to do with the truth. Why? Till a few centuries ago, it was very logical that the world is flat. We spoke about it many times. That was a logic. Whoever said something else was in the good time was mocked. In the bad one was put on fire for heresy, right? Because you don't know the world is flat. How could the world be round? If somebody is on the other side, that will fall, right? Does that sound logic? No. To the logic till 500 years ago, it was illogical. But you know what? It turned out to be real. So when you learn quantum physics, when Einstein said, the more you study quantum physics, that was in the 20s of the 20th century, it looks more silly. That's what Einstein was saying. Look who's talking. He made Newton to look silly, right? Newton was right, but whatever looked Newtonian physics, there was a realm that Newton physics doesn't apply. So was the logic of Newton right? Yeah, limited. Was Einstein's logic of relativity right? Yeah, limited. Then came another logic and brought a bigger picture, that made the previous logic partial. How do you call a partial logic? A lie. That's what the definition of a lie. Because if it is a fantasy, that's not a lie. Everybody knows it's a fantasy. There's nothing true about it. That's a fantasy. There's nothing wrong about fantasy. A lot of people make a living from writing fantasies, right? There's so many movies that basically fantasy, right? There's nothing wrong. People pay for fantasies. But a lie that pretends to be the truth, that's called a lie. That's what the definition of a lie. It's a fantasy that pretends to be the truth. So a partial truth is just a lie because it pretends to be the truth. So then came the quantum physics, and as I said, Einstein said the more you learn it, the more stupid it looks like. Does that mean? What does it say? Same thing as a person says in simple English, he sees something happen, he said, this is impossible. How come you say impossible? It happened. If it's happened, it means it is possible, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to happen. So what's impossible? The reality is impossible, or your logic is impossible? How many things we see in our lives that our brain is saying, this is impossible? But it happened. Inconceivable. That's closer. I cannot conceive that, but it happened. But don't say impossible or something that happened already. If it happened, it's not impossible. It is possible. Your logic simply doesn't fit reality. Okay? This is what the Torah is about. The Torah is about the truth and not about lies. The Torah is about what's the real truth and not about the wannabe truth. What's the truth that is comfortable for us at that moment, and then we upgrade. Do we believe in the same stuff we believed in 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago? No. A lot of stuff that we were sure this is the truth, and then we realized it was not. We have to understand that. That's a basic of, if you want to get close to the truth, you have to understand that the way you perceive the truth is only partial. And a partial truth, that's a lie. And that's why Judaism, for centuries, for millennia, called the world of our five senses the world of lies. And the real world is called Olam HaEmet, the world of truth. What does it mean? This is the world that our conscious mind, that our logic is no access to. So what are we going to do with our lives? This is what the Torah is about. The Torah is about one thing. How do we understand how the world of truth is working? Why do I have to know what's the truth? Because if you want to be practical and you want to get the best out of the limited time you have on this planet, in a body, the more you know how to do it right, the better you get out of every year, month, week, day, minute. Very simple. If you don't know the truth, the farther away from the truth you are, the more disappointment you get. So that's why when you look about the Torah has nothing to do with philosophy. Philosophy is about people sitting there and having imagination. Maybe this, and they have arguments, and you can build what is called towers, castles flying in the air. Castles flying in the air. You build a whole castle flying in the air, has no ground, and has no meaning. And the next day, oh, it didn't work, something else. Well, the Torah was talking about something else. This is how the universe is structured. Nothing to do with human imagination. This is how it works. These are the rules. And that's how you can tap into these rules in the best way. Which means it's not talking about ideas. It's talking about reality. How does that work? If you know how it works, you can get the best out of it. Now the question is, how do you understand that information given that your brain is based on a limited logic? Why? You look at something, do you see it? Do you really see it? Or you see a very small fraction of it? Because we can see only a very small fraction of, let's say, colors. There are colors we cannot see. Infrared we cannot see. Ultraviolet we cannot see. We also cannot see very small, cannot see very big. Whatever, very far away, very close. We have limitations. So how long does it take to know a person? Could be all your life and you never knew him. Right? That's ABC of Kabbalah. That's ABC of learning the truth about life. Knowing that you don't know. If you think that you know, for sure you don't know. The people who are sure that they know, they're very dangerous. Because they're blind without knowing that. That's very dangerous. They can do a lot of stuff that is very dangerous because they have no idea, they don't see. So, let's go to the Zohar to give us a hint. Although we read it a few times, this is very important, especially for this week. It's verse 8 in the Zohar Parashot Naso and BeHa'alotkha, Perush HaSulam of Rabbi Ashlag. Ma'u Atam is speaking about the Exodus, and he's going back to that event of the Exodus. מה הטעם שרשמו אדם על המשקוף ושתי המזוזות? What is the reason the Israelites had to put the blood on the doorpost and the two lintels? Why? They have to mark the house that it belongs. It's a Jewish household, or Israelite household. Okay? והמחבל, the destroyer, כשיצא וראה אותו אדם שהיה רשום על הפתח, ריחם על ישראל. When he came out and when he saw the mark on the door, he skipped over the house of the Israelites. As it says, ופסח השם על הפתח, and he skipped over the door. כאן יש להסתכל, but we have to look at it second. Many times you look at it first time, okay, I got it. No. Second, third, fourth, every time you see differently. אם הקדוש ברוך הוא בא והרג בארץ מצרים ולא שליח, הרי it says that God, he was the one who did the redemption in Egypt, and not a messenger, and not an angel, no one else, just God by himself. So what do you need that mark on the door? Doesn't God know everything? He should know everything. We spoke about it. You see the same theme in past parashot. He knows everything. So why do we have to mark it down? He knows everything. Okay? And the answer is, that if you want to awaken something above, you have to do something below. This is the rule, always. Why? What does it mean? If somebody really important calls you, you have to answer the phone if you want to talk to him. Sitting in front of the phone and crying won't help it. You have to simply answer the phone. What does it mean? You have to pick up the phone and press a button. That's a very simple thing. But, if you're going to pray, scream, whatever, you're not going to be able to talk to that person on the phone. You have to make the action from your side. The fact that somebody called you on the other side is not enough. You need to press the answer button. Thank God we have an example like this in our world today. But the same thing is at spiritual world. And what does it mean? It says, the Zohar says, continues, when we do different kind of actions, like blowing the shofar, like lighting Shabbat candles, we do an action in this physical world. But this action, says the Zohar, Ksharachamim mitorim, it raises the mercy from above. And when the mercy from above awakens, Kol nerot elyonim, all the upper candles, which means the sfirot. What sfirot means? Illuminations. You wake up those illuminations. And they shine, meirim mitzad zeh u'mitzad zeh, they shine from above and from below, from right and from left. Az be'or pnei melech chaim, in the face of the living king, who is the creator of the universe. Which means, in order to bring that light upon ourselves, we have to do something from below. And that is a very important thing. In order to awaken something from above, you have to make an action from below. Which means, when we learn Kabbalah, we learn that there are 10 Sefirot. Sometimes you see only 7 out of them. Sometimes you see them as 5. But it's always 10 Sefirot. Okay? Now, modern physics, when we learn about the latest discoveries in physics, they found out the universe is made of 10 dimensions. Sometimes it looks like 9, sometimes it looks like 11. However, Abraham the Patriarch, 4,000 years ago, in his book, the Sefer Yetzirah, the Book of Formation, he says clearly, 10 velo 9, 10 velo 11, 10, not 9, 10, not 11. All the Kabbalists knew, you can make a little mistake and you see 11 or 9 dimensions, not 10. Okay? Relax. It's 10. Okay? So when we know those Sefirot are basically the conduits that bring the light of the creation into our lives. And why there are 10? That's a whole study, but we need like 10 curtains. So we are not getting burned by the light of the Creator. That's one reason. Another reason is that the 10 Sefirot, they give us the ability to control. What does it mean to control? When you have 10 Sefirot, the lowest of them all is called Malchut. Malchut means in Hebrew kingdom. That's the lowest. That's number 10. Shouldn't be the kingdom where? On the top, on the first one. But don't you learn that the customer is always right? Why? Because if the customer does not switch the light on, the electric company cannot force him consume. So the end user is in control, right? Who is the end user in the whole universe? We are the end user. You don't push the button, you don't consume the light of the Creator. So who has the control over the flow of energy in this universe? The end user. We are. That's why we are called Malchut, kingdom. Which means, if we push the button, then the light comes in, and we experience the shining light of the Creator in our lives. You can call it abundance, you can call it health, you can call it happiness, success, good luck. It's all about pushing the button, or creating, or connecting, or plugging in the thing. You have to do something below so the light can flow from above. Thank God that we have electricity to give us as an example, right? But the same thing is, if you have a pool and you want the reservoir of water to feed the fields, the field is, the Zohar used to give the example that the pool, brecha, which is the same word of bracha, bliss and abundance, this is the upper sefirot. Okay? Then this is Sfirat Bina, that we all want to connect to, because that the source of all abundance. But it has to go through all the conduits in order to come to our world. And our world is Malchut, which is the field. Now, how did the ancient Israelites do agriculture? You know, part of the year there was rain, but whoever knows, in Israel you can't count on the rain all the time, because the rain from after Sukkot till before Pesach, that's it. From Pesach till Sukkot, no rain. You don't need to read the or anything about the weather, because you know it's not going to rain, very rarely. So what do? How do you have agriculture during this time? Oh, so you have water reservoirs that you fill it up during the rain season, or from a spring, and then you have all kinds of watering irrigation system to the fields. Now every field had the access to the irrigation system, and there was this plug. If you pull the plug out, then the water flew into the field, okay, and watered it. If you didn't plug it out, the field will stay dry. So it's the same thing. The end user is Malchut. If the end user does not pull the plug out, then the abundance cannot flow in, which means who is in control? The end user. So this is a very important thing, because when we're talking about Kabbalah, the Torah, Mount Sinai Revelation, we're not talking about belief system. We're not talking about psychology. We're not talking about philosophy. We're talking about learning how the system works. It's called science. Look, science is in the beginning. How old is science? Real science. 200 years old. This is like baby stage. They're still swimming in the kiddie pool. Okay? It will take a long time till they reach that level, but you know what? All the great scientific revelations were always confirming Kabbalistic knowledge and wisdom. The more we learn about science, we better understand Kabbalah. How come? Because Kabbalah is the secret and the soul of the Torah. And the Torah is not talking about philosophy and not about belief systems. The Torah is talking basically about how the universe is structured. That's what it says in many places. That the Creator looked at the Torah and created the universe. So the Torah is a blueprint of the universe. So the sages are asking, so why do I have to study Torah? Do I have to create the universe? No. But if you know how it works, you can function it. How many people are miserable because they have no idea which button to push? Very simple. You know, I've tried so hard, working on my marriage. I tried so hard working on my business. It doesn't work. If you don't know the rules, you can try, but, I had a student that he said, it's wrong to say practice makes perfect. Only perfect practice makes perfect. If you practice wrongly, don't expect to have perfection. If you practice in the wrong direction. If you don't know how it works, you can practice wrong. So, says the Zohar, verse 11, בורא, בשעה שהכהן התכוון להדליק נרות למטה, when the Kohen was lighting the candles below, which means the physical visible menorah והיה מקריב קטורת הסמים, and he was also burning the incense. אז באותה שעה מאירים נרות העליונים של הספירות. Why did he do that? He knew that this is the way to turn on the upper sfirot. So when it says, in front of the menorah, the candles were shining, how could be in front of the menorah? The menorah, are there two menorahs? Yes. There's a physical one, and there's a metaphysical one. There's the one that you can see with your eyes, and the one you cannot see with your eyes. But if you train your brain to understand that they exist, although you don't see them, and we know today, we are trained to know that. I can talk on the cellular phone. Do I see the radio waves coming into the phone? No. Does that stop me from talking on the phone? Does that make me saying, I don't believe it, how it works, or I don't know how it works, I'm not using it? How many people you know that behave this way? You know, that's not logical. You know, how many people logically know how the cell phone is working? Huh? Very few. Still they use it. They use it because they believe in it. What do I mean they believe? They have some assumption that it works. Somebody knows how it works, so I'm using it. This is what the Torah is teaching us. There is a structure. You can study that structure. The universe is not what the eyes can see, what the ears can hear. We said, after the sin of Adam, everything fell apart. Now we can see only a very, very small fraction of reality. So now we have to figure from what we see about what we don't see. Somebody has a disease. God forbid. Do we see the disease? No, we see only symptoms. So you go to the doctor, he sends you to all kinds of checking and tests and tests and tests. From the symptoms, he finally can see, maybe, where's the disease coming from, right? Which means we learn in modern history that although you don't see the cause, you can learn about the cause from the way you look at the effects. That's the Torah. The Torah is saying, yeah, you light the candles of the menorah, but these candles, why it says BeHa'alotkha? You have to raise your consciousness because you're not lighting a candle. Give you another example. Because, you know, lighting a candle, when we light, the closest we can get is lighting Shabbat candles. Shabbat enters a certain hour. You can find it right now on the internet, on the newspapers and stuff like this. When Shabbat enters, how do you mark the entering of Shabbat? You light candles. Why are you lighting the candles? Because Shabbat is entering. Anybody saw the Shabbat entering? No. So how do you connect to that? You light candles. What do you mean you light candles? Because the Zohar is teaching us Shabbat is the quantum leap. You leap, BeHa'alotkha, to another dimension in which the rules are totally different during Shabbat. How do you skip up to that leap of another world with different rules? The magical rules of Shabbat, where everything is in harmony, when the universe is in harmony. How do you skip into that? You light candles. Because the candles can connect us to that place. But if you light candles, because you light candles, I saw my mother lighting candles, I saw my grandmother lighting candles, I saw on TV somebody lighting Shabbat candles. So I light Shabbat candles. But if you don't raise your consciousness, you just lit candles. Monkeys can light candles. You can train them to do that. Even dogs, you can train them. You know, some dogs are very smart. You can train them to do something like this. Does that mean they connect to Shabbat? No, they don't have that part of the mind that allows them to skip to a world beyond the physical. Humanity craves for that world. How do you know? Look at all the new movies right now. Most of them are fantasy. Look about the success of Harry Potter movies. All kinds of other movies that talk about a world beyond the five senses and the logic of the five senses, that make human beings magical creatures. Non-magical creatures This is very miserable. Very miserable. Crawling on the physical, elusive earth, not being able to hop or leap to the upper world, you're doomed for misery, because your soul was born to connect to more than that. And then you feel, every time you wake up in the morning or you go to sleep, you feel that I was meant for more, but where is it? So when you light Shabbat candles, you just lit candles, that's tradition. Your soul is screaming, where is Shabbat? Where is my Shabbat? I want to live, I want to feel the BeHa'alotkha. I want to feel the magic. So when Aaron was lighting the candles below, he was thinking about lighting the candles above. That's why it's called BeHa'alotkha. Because the physical action is not what's important. The result is what's important. When you light Shabbat candles, you think about connecting and hopping up to a place of magic which is called Shabbat. When you open the ark on Shabbat, the Zohar says, when you open the ark on Shabbat, the gates of heaven open up. And all the mercy is coming down. And you have to ask for it. But some people, if you're not trained for that, you go to the ark, you think you got the honor to open the ark. You think it's about honor. You fool. Nothing to do with honor. You got a job to open the gates of heaven. But if you don't feel BeHa'alotkha, if you don't raise your consciousness, you just open a closet. So you go to the synagogue and people just open a closet. And your neshama is screaming like, where is the gates of heaven? That's a closet. How many books were printed with the story of Narnia? For some people, you open a closet, and it's just a closet. And some people open a closet, and it's a kingdom of magic open up. Why so many people love that story? Because this is our story. As humans, there's a kingdom of magic opening, but if you don't step up for that magic, you just dwindle, and every day you wake up, and where's my magic? Where is my soul? Where is my calling? I'm a non-magical creature. And then you go to sleep like a little bit shut down. And the next day, more shut down. And the next day, more shut down, because did I come to this world for that? No way. No way. So then says the Zohar, "V'nikshar hakol yachad." Then, when you have that consciousness while doing the actions, nikshar hakol yachad, everything is bound together. V'simcha, v'chedva, happiness and joy, nimtzaim bechol olamot, come to all the universe of above. זה שכתוב שמן וקטורת ישמח לב. Oil and incense will make the heart happy. ועל כן כתוב בהעלותך את הנרות. That's why it says, when you raise the candles, you're not lighting candles. The candles are just a physical thing that is just the button. If you want to have the light in your home, it's not enough to go and buy a button, right? You just buy a button, put on the wall, a plastic button. No, you need the wires, and you need the light fixture in order to turn the light on. But in this world, you have the wires and the fixture. That's your consciousness. That's your imagination. Yes, you need a button. But if you don't have the consciousness, it is just a button. So then the same way in a synagogue, you go to some synagogues, people open a closet. And some places, sometimes you feel that somebody opened the gates of heaven. And all bliss is coming through these gates when you open the ark. So you want to know where's the lost ark? If you saw the movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's in every synagogue. The question is, the same thing with Narnia. Are you opening a closet? Or are you opening the gates of the gates of heaven? That all what was revealed on Mount Sinai can come now to these gates. Depends on, are you a magical creature or just a mogul? Okay, just a miserable, non-magical creature. So This is very important. And that's what this parasha, that was what Mount Sinai was about. So let's go back. So what was so special about Mount Sinai revelation? He could say, be magical. He did say. The whole 10 utterances. But if you're not magical, you can't understand it. Because what's magical about do not steal? Oh, this is the most magical thing in the world. Do you want something? What do you want from it? Do you want, let's say you love this new Gucci purse that just came out. What do you love? The leather? The shining stuff on it? What do you like? Or the good feeling it gives you? Which is magic. You can't explain it to your husband. He won't understand. Right? He can't understand that. You feel the magic. Right? But that's what the Torah is saying. You can steal physical. Buttons you can steal. You can steal the button. But you cannot steal the fixture. You cannot steal the fixture. Because every physical being has a spiritual power instilled in it. You can steal the physical. You can steal the atoms. You cannot steal God's bliss. The endless bliss in everything. A person worked on it. He put his guts into it. Why you pay more for certain brand names? Because there's more imagination, there's more excitement in creating it. It's different. This is dead, this is alive. Right? Why? Somebody put his soul into it. Somebody put his guts into it. That's why you appreciate, you feel something extra in it. The moment you steal, you can steal only atoms. You cannot steal the connection to the excitement. The magic cannot be stolen. Magic you have to earn. So when it says do not steal, that's not Hammurabi laws, that's not Egyptian laws. It says in all of these laws that was a logical law. Do not steal. Why? Because if you steal, people have no incentive to collect, to amass fortune. And that means they have no money to pay taxes to the government. Right? So if people don't work and there are no taxes, the government stays poor. Right? On the other hand, the moment you know that the government will protect you so you can make more money, but you have to pay them for that. But if you think this is what you have in mind is the perfect crime, you will steal. It starts with, it won't hurt anyone. They have enough money. They won't notice. Then you say, what, they're taking so much they deserve, so I steal from them. Okay? That's how it works. So people do steal. Most people do steal, this way or another. But if you learn the Torah says it's nothing to do with the government. It's nothing to do with the police. It's nothing to do with the surveillance mechanism. Nothing to do with that. You want the bliss. Can you touch it? No. But you have to earn the object so you can connect to the bliss instilled in it. You know the difference between Mount Sinai revelation and common law? Common law, the moment people have the logic, it won't hurt me. I can do whatever I want. So what if the law says so? The law is for me. Yeah. And what the Torah is saying, yes, the law is for you. You want to be happy? You cannot steal. You want to be happy? You cannot kill. Because this is the opposite to God's light. You want the bliss? You have to make the pipes, to leave them open. How many pipes? Basically, 10 pipes, 10 sfirot. How many utterances on Mount Sinai? 10. Oh, what a coincidence. No coincidences. So what happened on Mount Sinai was revealing humanity that the reason to be moral, ethical, having values, has nothing to do with society. It has to do first with the individual. If you know the rules of the universe and you behave by them, you have better chances to be happy and to feel the magic flowing into your life. It's not about fantasy. It's about reality. Why do you think the more the government invests in fighting drugs, fighting alcohol, the more drugs and more alcohol is being sold. Why? The answer is simply because drugs and alcohol are ways that people can connect to that magic anyway. And the moment you deny people the ability to do that, not that drugs and alcohol are good, they're horrible. Why? Because it's an illegal, cosmically, spiritually, way to access the magic. Why? Because the moment, one of the rules is that we are creators. The moment we let the drugs and the alcohol create our happiness, you're out of the game. Game over. So what does it mean? To teach us that we can acquire the same high. But how do you know it's a real high, holy high? The more you connect to that high, the better is the ability to connect to a higher high. You're just expanding it, it's becoming stronger and stronger. With the exercise, perfect practice makes perfect. Drugs is cosmically illegal way to connect to that high. But at least you know who's wise, say the sages, who learns from other people's experience. You see, they get high, and the next few hours, it's a buy. Where is this high coming from? Because it exists. This is illegal way to achieve high, but the legal way to achieve high, the Torah is teaching us. The whole Torah is about that. How to connect to that place that is beyond the eyes, the ears, the five senses, the logic of the senses. We have a brain, we have an ability to become magical. That's why we keep creating fantasies, because that's our birthright. And as long as people are going to be denied the ability to connect to that high, they are going to try to find other ways to get there. And because there's no education for that, and there's no training for that, people will continue to be miserable and try to look for other ways in. Now, there's another thing. Here, the second story in the Parashot BeHa'alotkha is when Aaron makes the Levites holy. How? It says that he, what's the word? Ve'enif Aharon et HaLeviim. That's chapter 8 in the book of Numbers, verse 11. And Aaron lifted up all the Levites, one by one, 20,000 Levites. When he lift up, he lift them up to the level to assume the position of a Levite, which now they have that magic of a Levite, which is a whole story by itself. And then there's another story. The story is that the Israelites, on the second year after leaving Egypt, everybody celebrates Passover. Everybody? No. The Torah tells us some people were not able to celebrate Passover because of all different reasons. So what do? Religion, Dark Ages religion is, if you wanted so much to celebrate the holiday and you couldn't because of all kinds of, reasons that were not under your control, you should sit in the corner and be ashamed of yourself. You probably did something wrong for that. But you know what the Israelites did? The ones who couldn't celebrate Pesach? They came to Moses and said, Moses, what's going on? We want that celebration of the holiday. We missed it. We want that high of Pesach. We can't believe that God won't give it to us. That's coming from the assumption that more than you want to receive, that we want to receive that magic of bliss, the Creator wants to give it to us. Only a child that was raised with a lot of love around has this assumption that he deserves to feel happy. And that's why the Torah says, Banim atem l'Hashem Elokechem. You are the children of God. All of you. All of you. Which means, more than you want to be happy, God wants you to be happy. So, we miss it. How could God give it to us? What's Moses' answer? Shame on you! Sit in the corner and be ashamed. No. That's not his answer. He says, I'll ask God. And what's God's answer? Oh, they want Pesach? This is great. You know what? Pesach Sheni. There's going to be a second Pesach. Whoever missed Pesach, Passover, on the 15th of Nisan, Aries, on the 14th of Iyar in the evening, twilight, there will be a second Pesach, second Passover, which means you don't have to keep kosher for Pesach, but you can slaughter the lamb, eat it with matzah and maror. You can do the seder, called the second Pesach. There's always a second chance. Always. Why? If you come with the assumption that more that you want to enjoy life, the Creator wants you to enjoy life, it's never too late. There's always another chance, which is so important in spiritual thinking, spiritual world, and that's the rules of the universe that we learn from that. Thank you so much, and have a great week. This is the rules. That's what's the base of Mount Sinai Revelation, to have magic everywhere we look at. Thank you. Shavuot Tov.